And you guys know I like me a fun haul, and I legitimately can't stop staring. Okay, I didn't really mean to finish this right away, but like I said, the vibe was there today. So I just didn't want to sit down and listen to my audiobook. I really just wanted to read this. So I did. I picked it up. It was required for my career, and I did it. So now we come to a dilemma that I am having, which is which book to pick up next. Hello. As you can see, it's been a few days. It's Tuesday. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the first week of the Autumn Equinox Magical Readathon. I am so excited. So you guys know I love me the Magical Readathon. It is my favorite readathon of the year, both editions, the spring and the autumn. And today we are starting the autumn semester. So it's technically the 3rd of September. So we've already been like a few days since it started, but we were visiting my parents for Labor Day. So I decided not to start the vlog while I was up there, and we'll start it now instead, which is totally fine because honestly, I just started my first book like yesterday, I want to say. But the book that we are starting the readathon with, I'm very excited about, is The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. So this book, I have in for one of the Elemental Studies classes prompts, which is sparks on the cover. As you can see, I think every version of this cover has like fireworks on it. But at the moment, we are reading this both, I have it on my Kindle and audibly from my library. So what I found interesting about this book so far, I am about 20%, according to my audiobook, of the way through this book. And it's actually a sequel, which I didn't process. Now it's a companion sequel, so like, yes, there is a relationship that is spoiled from the first book, but like, I never consider that spoilers because like, you go into a romance knowing how it's going to end. Like you go in with the main characters and you know that they're going to end up together. So is it really spoiler? Anyway, but it's the sequel to The Soulmate Equation, which is about an app that uses your DNA to like find your perfect match. So in this book, we follow our main character, Fizzy, who's a romance author, and she ends up giving a commencement address to some college students, and in the middle of it, discovers kind of like she's giving them all this advice and she feels lost herself. And so she ends up kind of having this year of not really writing, not really feeling it, not really dating anyone. And she used to be like the fun fling kind of person and would use all of her dates, even bad dates, in her writing. And she used to like even carry a book around so that if she heard snippets of conversation or snippets of stories popped in her head, she was able to write it down. And she hasn't been carrying books around for like months. So she's kind of going through that, and then you've got our main character, Connor, I think his name is. She calls him like 5 different names just to prove that like she doesn't care about him, so I don't actually remember what his real name is. I was right, Connor, who is a single dad, but he's got a healthy relationship with his ex-wife. They do co-parenting really well, and he's a filmmaker, a documentary filmmaker. And so that's what he does. He does like the small town, small kind of stories that like are really impactful. And so his boss is all about money, money, money. And so he comes to Connor and basically says, you're kind of being forced to create a reality dating show. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? And so he ends up kind of connecting with Fizzy and discovers that like, basically asks her to be a part of this dating show where she's a famous romance author but hasn't found love, and so they're going to use this DNA Duos, the app, this app to kind of bring people onto the show that are matches for her. And one of them is going to be a gold match, which is like the perfect, highest of the high you could possibly get. And there are silver and I think platinum matches. There's like different levels of matches, but they're going to use this app to bring people on the show that are matches to her, and then the audience is going to decide who she dates. And so it's like his way of like bridging the gap of like her romance novels and that kind of story with this dating reality TV show kind of vibe. And he looks down on this whole situation. And so she comes back with like a list of demands, including a list of like male love interest like stereotypes or archetypes. So you've got like, she sends him bad boy, golden retriever, vampire is one of them, silver fox was one of them. Those are the ones I remember, but like it even went down to like way like dominatrix, like little, like she gave him like 20 and he's gonna find 8. And so it's them with this reality dating show. But of course, like it's gonna be more than that. The two of them are gonna like fall in love. It's like a whole thing. Anyway, what I'm discovering about this book is that it's very different from any other book that I have read by this author duo. It is, I believe, well, not anymore, because there was one book that came out this year, but I believe it's one of their more recent books. And so I don't know if their writing has changed a whole lot, but like Fizzy is very into like sexual innuendo and like making sex jokes and stuff like that. So she's very like promiscuous almost. I mean, she's not, but I don't know how else to explain it. And so like that's not really a vibe I've seen in any of their books before. But I noticed in the very beginning of the book, in like the dedication, they talked about how this book was their like ode or like their tribute to the romance genre. And so I'm interested to see what that's going to be about. Like there's already been really interesting conversations about like people's reactions and how people see the romance genre. Like where I'm at, she has a book signing and Connor goes with her and he kind of like gets a different vibe of the people there, because like she even mentions, the one that like sticks out in my head is there's this girl who comes to like every single one of her book signings, even though every single book of hers has already been signed like multiple times. She just comes and gets them signed again. And so she talks about like fandoms, fangirls, and like her audience, if you will. And so I think it gives him a bit better like understanding of, starting to give him a better understanding of the genre. I think by the end it's going to give like, I think it's going to be very interesting conversations about that, because I think even though the romance genre is like one of the most like lucrative genres I'm pretty sure out there, it's also one of the ones that is made fun of a lot. And so I'm interested to see what kind of conversations we're going to get through this, because Connor, like I said, is very much not a fan right away. But that is the book that we're starting with. But I also wanted to show you something very exciting that I got in the mail, because we're in a vlog, you know I like to do hauls. So I was approached by the lovely people at Ana Luisa to partner with them for a video, and I'm so excited because the box came and I don't know what's in it. I want to show you guys the couple of pieces that they sent me. You guys should see like just how well packaged this is. I also have a special link down below if you'd like to get 30% off if you like anything that I'm saying here. But I'm sure many of you have heard of them because they have been partnering and sponsoring people, especially in like the booktube world, that I've seen for a very long time. So when I got that email, I was so excited. It's so cute. I mean, look at these, like they come in these little itty bitty boxes. Look how adorable that is. But what I love about them, from everything that I've heard, is how sustainable they are, and like everything is like carbon neutral. So they're very into like helping with the environment, and like I can already tell that the packaging is recyclable, which is really important to me. Look at online and you see kind of the prices, and they may be a little more expensive than like the cheap jewelry that you would find in like a Target or something like that, but it's going to last, so the price is like totally worth it in my opinion. But let's see the fun pieces they sent me. So I can already tell one of these is a necklace, so let's go with that one first. All right, so here's the first little box. Oh yay. Okay, so they have a lot of jewelry has this like blue design on it, and I think that is just absolutely stunning. And oh my gosh, I can already tell the chain on this is super high quality. So if you see me wear these a lot over the course of the next forever, you have been warned. Oh, that is so pretty, and it's super dainty, so it doesn't like overpower anything. I Really like that. It's got a couple of different things in the back here where like you can make the chain shorter or longer depending on like what shirt you're wearing or like your personal preference. Oh, I love that. That's really pretty. That's stunning. I wear a lot of blue things. I'm so excited about that. And then the next one, let's see what this one is. It's upside, no, it's not. Ooh, it is upside down, sorry. Oh, okay, these were the ones, I'm throwing things, I'm so excited. These were like my number one pick as far as like what I wished to get, and I got them, and I love them. So they're these little like silver huggy hoop things. I have this pair of like fake diamond studs that I wear all the time. Chris got them for me. My husband got them for me because they matched my wedding ring. And so I wear them all the time and I love them, but I wanted some variety, and these have like the same vibe as those, but they're a little more better quality, and they're like, oh, they're so pretty. Okay, hold on. I gotta put them on. You think after having my ears pierced for like over 10 years, I would be better at putting earrings in, but I still need a mirror. Oh, I love these. Oh my gosh. Okay, these are perfect because like they're not too big, but they're like different enough. Oh, I'm gonna wear these all the time. I can already promise you that right now. And like I can already tell they're really good quality, and like my ears are really sensitive, so like they get annoyed by earrings very, very quickly. And so if these did not work, they would already be annoying my ears, and they're not. So, oh, those are so pretty. I'm obsessed. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Ana Luisa, for sending these to me to tell you guys about. I love them. But that is my little haul from Ana Luisa. I am so excited. Like I said, I've heard their name literally everywhere. So when I saw that email pop in my inbox, I was like, I think I screamed. I think I scared both my daughter and my husband because I was like ecstatic about the fact that this was coming. But like, look how genuinely stunning these are. And like, literally, I don't want to take them off. I'm probably not going to take them off, to be honest. Why, hello. I have a friend who just woke up. Hi. Do you like my jewelry too? Yeah. So yes, I will come back to you at the end of the vlog and kind of tell you how these have done. I'm really hard on my jewelry, especially earrings. So I'm excited to see if these are going to be durable. I think they will. I mean, I can already tell by the quality. I can't stop staring at these earrings, you guys. Okay, so that is my little haul. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I mentioned, there's a link down below if you'd like to check it out and get 30% off yourself, because honestly, highly recommend just based on first viewing. That is the start of this vlog. It's probably not going to be a very long vlog since it's already, what's today, Wednesday? And I only have like a few days in this vlog. But that is my plan, is to keep reading that one. And then I don't really know what I want to read after that. I'm probably going to go based on the audiobooks I have out from the library, or I have a physical book from the library downstairs. And so based on when those are due, that's probably the order I'm going to read them in. But the True Love Experiment I've been really enjoying. I listened to it kind of at night when I'm pumping and feeding. So that's been great. And I love it so far. It has a very interesting, like I said, like the writing is just very different. Anyway, so I got my first fall mug out, as you guys can see. I'm very excited. And let's continue with reading. Anyway, I need to go. This one just woke up and is looking at me like they want something. Yeah. So I'll come back to you when I have any sort of update. I don't know. I'm just excited to start because y'all know I love me this magical readathon. I am beyond stoked. updates for you. So, as you saw this morning, I took advantage, if you will, of the fact that Peanut was sleeping. She's trying to sleep again. She's hanging out with me. And she was really tired this morning, which I was not upset with. And she decided just to pass out next to me. And I said, okay, well, I will take this time. And I was like, I'm starting to get in the fall mood, okay? So what I did is I sat down, I made coffee, which I'm still not done with, but it's in this nice little pumpkin mug. And then I decided to pick up something that I was gonna have to read physically. So I wanted to sit down and I wanted the aesthetic. Like I was going to enjoy sitting down and finishing my coffee. It's much later. It's like way in the afternoon. Still have coffee because I'm really bad at finishing drinks in a short amount of time. Anyway, I was like, I'm going to enjoy my coffee. So what I did is I decided to sit down and pick up something physical. And I had The Moth Keeper, which was on both my TBR game as well as required for the career that I am focusing on first, which is Master of Elements. This was the second in the Elemental Studies prompt, which was to read a book. Okay, it's kind of convoluted, but it's basically like where you were when you were watching the announcement video, the book that you had just finished, take that many pages and add 100 or so. And so I had finished one of the STEM novellas for Allie Hazelwood and added 100 pages, which was close to this. I'm looking at it now and like there's actually page numbers in this book and it is well beyond what I thought it was, but Goodreads said it wasn't, so I'm still gonna count it. Either way, I don't have the cover on it, it's downstairs, but isn't it like beautiful underneath? I love this author. They're the ones who did the Tea Dragon Society trilogy, and there's also a couple other books by this author that I definitely want to check out. They're all middle grade graphic novels, and the creation of the stories are beautiful, and the art in them is just absolutely stunning. Hold on, I'm gonna find a really good like landscape. I mean, like look at this landscape. Stunning. I decided to pick this one up. I found some ASMR thing. It was like this old cottage with like a waterfall and it had like the trickling water and then it also had some like fun, I don't even know how to explain it, like fantasy kind of lute music, if you will, is the best way I can describe it. And so I had that on, I had my coffee and I was reading and it was like perfect. It was the aesthetic that I wanted. So I ended up reading this a lot over the course of the day and ended up finishing it. Gavin did some sprints with his patrons, which I decided to jump on because I never do sprints, and I thought, why not? I'm just sitting here and reading anyway. And it was just so much fun. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was very simplistic in the way that it was told, which makes sense, again, middle grade. I do want to read one thing that's in the author's note, not author's note, the About the Creator section, which says that Kay O'Neill strives to make books with themes of kindness, inclusiveness, and well-being, creating worlds that children can play in and characters they can identify with and admire. And that's exactly what we have here. I mean, we had a main character who kind of grew up an orphan a little bit, and they like had a very, very important job, but it was a very lonely job. And so it was about like community almost, and having like this person discover this job and then realize how lonely they were, and then kind of like trying to do it all themselves and realizing that they needed that community. There's definitely some LGBTQ rep. I'm sure there's a few non-binary characters in here, but there's definitely a male-male romance in here as well. The Tea Dragon Society had a bunch of stuff in it as well, so that's just kind of what this author does, which I really enjoy. So yes, I loved it. The idea behind this, which I'm realizing now I haven't told you about, is it takes place in this community. So there's these different villages, and this one is the Night Village. And it basically starts with this being, night spirit, that created the sky and the stars and all these beautiful things, but everyone was awake during the day and not during at night. So it was never shown. And so then one night, a couple of people realize how beautiful it is at night, and so they decide to switch their society, and they are awake at night and sleep during the day. And so our main character is part of this night village, and their job is the Moth Keeper. It's one that they're kind of like taking over. So there are these moths in the village that pollinate or populate this tree, and this tree is really, really important, And so the job is for the moth keeper to take the moths out at night, and I believe they go and they like eat, and then they come back and they pollinate on the tree, and then they go hide in a stump during the day. And that's their job, is just at night to go out and hang out with a bunch of moths. So it's a very lonely job. And so while at the beginning our main character is learning about what like the ins and outs of the job, so Anya, who's our main character, is learning how lonely this job is. And Anya kind of got left by their mom and is just used to being alone and is trying to take the world on their shoulders, because this job of moth keeper is incredibly important for this community. And so it's them trying to figure that out. And then like at one point they go during the day to see just to see what the day is like, because they've been kind of like dreaming about the day this whole time and just wanted to know what it's about. But it's very much about community and belonging and that kind of thing. And I just really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was very sweet. It's very simplistic in its theme and its ideas, but for a middle grade, stunning. I'm obsessed, like I said, with the art style in these books. I will do anything for this artist. Oops, now I'm throwing the bookmark. But like, I'm always amazed by the art and like how much effort is put into this. And so yes, I'm really, really glad that I read this. 4 stars, amazing. I finished my very first book of the Magical Readathon. I didn't really mean to finish this right away, but like I said, the vibe was there today. So I just didn't want to sit down and listen to my audiobook. I really just wanted to read this. So I did. I picked it up. It was required for my career. And I did it. I'm still reading the True Love Experiment. I think I'm about halfway through now, and I'm definitely enjoying it. The chemistry between our main 2 characters in that book, Connor and Fizzy, is fascinating. Like I mentioned, this is kind of like an ode to the romance genre from Christina Lauren, and you can kind of tell because, well, it's very heavy-handed in like the way people react to romance authors and this kind of thing. The romantic elements started way sooner than I anticipated them starting, but I kind of liked that about it. I liked, based on the plot of this with the whole Bachelor show, I liked that some of the romance elements started earlier than that and made really just the whole thing believable. Yeah, it's written very differently, like I mentioned, and honestly it does not feel like Christina Lauren writing, so that's throwing me off. I'm not disliking it, it's just I have like come to expect a very specific thing from these authors, and this is just so vastly different that I kind of genuinely forget that this is the author duo who wrote this book. It's not just like another romance book by another romance author. So I'm not hating it. Like it's not a bad thing. It's just something that I didn't expect going in. So halfway through, like I said, hoping to dive in more over the next few days because my audiobook from the library is due back soon. So I need to finish this, but I'm still enjoying that one. It wasn't the vibe that I was feeling today. I was feeling the fall vibe, and this was what I wanted. So that's it. That's my update. I finished a book, and I'm halfway through another one, and hopefully I will get to that one soon-ish. Hi, I have updates. So I just finished, like an hour ago, maybe, the True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. And this was a very strange experience for me because I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I still really enjoyed it as a whole, but there was a lot of stuff in it that didn't work so well, or I didn't know how to think about it. So I think I kind of talked a little bit about this, but the writing of it was vastly different, in my opinion, to anything I've read by Christina Lauren. Now, it is the second in a duology, and I haven't read the first one. I didn't know it was a duology until I had already started reading it, which is totally fine. But it's just like a best friend that's mentioned in the first book. It's Fizzy, and she gets her own story. That's really about it. So I don't know if the first one in the series is going to feel the same as this, or if it's going to be different because it's the same world. It's a totally different character. It's the best friend is the main character in that one. So like it could be just whether they wrote Fizzy, I don't know, but there's something about the writing that like I still can't pinpoint if I liked it or not. Fizzy is a very like, she lives out loud. She is very flirtatious with a lot, like basically everybody. And she has like basically speaks in sexual innuendos, which is funny, except for that it's a little heavy-handed for her as a person. So I get what they were trying to do. The entirety of this book, it was supposed to be their ode, if you will, to the romance genre and to romance readers. Like on one hand, I get what they were doing with her character, but on the other hand, she was just a lot. And like I loved her, but like for someone who is so overtly sexual and like their everyday life makes jokes 24/7, the sex scenes in this book were just okay. Like any kind of romantic scene was meh. The chemistry between Fizzy and Connor was immaculate, and I loved their banter scenes, and anytime they just kind of like talked about stuff, that was very entertaining. And like anytime they were like flirting with each other, I loved that. But any of like the romantic scenes honestly didn't do it. They were just, I kind of skipped through them. I'm not gonna lie, like I definitely spaced out a couple of times, and there's like a few of them in this book. It's not like super smutty, but like they definitely like have a few scenes. And then like even when like she hints to him back at like some of the stuff that they've done, that didn't bother me. It kind of like worked well with the way that they talk to each other, but the actual scenes kind of lackluster. But the endings of books, I've discovered, are kind of like make or break it for me sometimes, and that's what happened here. Is this book was just kind of okay, and then I got to the end, and I'm a sucker for any sort of like love confession, big climactic get together scene in the romance books that I read or movies, and I loved what happened here. It kind of reminded me of, what is that book, The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane, which is the same vibe of like a dating show, and the person on the dating show falls for someone who is part of the crew. And it's significantly, this one is really fluffy. That one is more like hard hitting. There's a lot of conversations in that book about mental health. So the ending had very similar vibes. They're totally different, but the endings had very similar vibes for me. So if you liked one, you might like the other, just as a thought. But I love the ending. Like I said, I'm a sucker for any sort of like big romantic gesture, or honestly, it doesn't even have to be a big romantic gesture. Just like that scene where like they talk about their feelings and say things. I just liked it. And I also really liked how open Fizzy and Connor were throughout the entire book. I'm thinking of Fizzy specifically, it takes a while to kind of get to understanding what her feelings are, but they're both very open with each other about the fact that they have feelings, and that they're really strong feelings from the get-go. So I liked that. But my favorite thing about this entire book was the relationship and the friendship between Fizzy and her best friend Jess, who is the main character from the Soulmate Equation. And I just like the way that they could have conversations, and they get each other and they joke, and like they have their own like banter, but it's like a friendship banter is the best way I can describe it. But like they have their own situations, and there's even at one point they have a full-on conversation through eye contact. They don't even say a word, and Jess's husband's like, y'all, you're doing it again. So like I really liked the friendship elements of it. And like Jess is a big part of the plot because she's the best friend. So anytime Fizzy like has anything that she needs to talk out, she's probably going to go to Jess. She does have a sister that she talks to, but Jess is like the person she goes to. And so like their conversations I loved, and I loved seeing, I don't know, I just like, I loved that friendship. So like that was the best part. So 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed the end of this book. It took me a while to really get invested in the plot, I think. So I don't know if I would consider this a disappointment, but disappointing read for me, because I'm just like, I expect so much from Christina Lauren books, but I read it and I'm glad I read it. But I'm also kind of glad I don't own this book, because like I'm probably never going to touch this book again. And I highlighted a couple of things in my Kindle book that I borrowed from the library, but they're more just like, I liked the sentence, but I'm never going to think about it again, you know? So I don't know. There's just something about this that didn't hit perfect, but it's still like, it still got 3.5. So like it still was a really good read. So now we come to a dilemma that I am having, which is, which book to pick up next. So I have two options, and ironically, both of these are required for my career, but they're not required for the main career that I'm focusing on. So they're not for the Master of Elements, they're for Wild Form Druid. So the first one is Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. This one is for the second Animal Studies prompt, which is to read a standalone. I've read other things by this author. Well, I've read a book. I read Mr. Wrong Number. This author has a lot of contemporary romances out there. So depending on how I feel about this book, because I loved Mr. Wrong Number, but it's been quite a few years. Depending on how I feel about this book, we might invest or investigate some other books by this author. But at the moment, this one is one that I'm thinking of because I have the audiobook that I've waited forever in line for this one, and there are 4 people waiting after me, and I only have it for a few more days. It's not a very long book. It's under 300 pages, which is surprising to me, but I don't know. So the reason it's on this list is because the audiobook's going to go back soon. But this one basically follows our main character, Sophie, and she is about to get married, and she finds out that her fiance has cheated on her again. And so she can't call off the wedding because his father is her father's boss, and she's afraid that if she calls off the wedding, her father's going to lose his job. So her best friend knows someone who knows this guy, whose name is Max, and he is an objector, and they basically get hired. It's like a side gig that he does. He gets hired to object at weddings. So he is hired to object at her wedding and kind of like announces to everyone that this guy cheated on her. And so after that, they kind of have like a little conversation, and he talks about like he's got a full-time job, but like this is like a side hustle that he does occasionally. It started off as like a fluke one-off, and then it kind of became a thing, and she's like very disillusioned with love. They're both kind of disillusioned with love. They don't believe in true love. So they end up kind of like, I think, creating this deal, and she also becomes an objector with him. And then Sophie gets hired to object at this wedding, and the groom-to-be who hires Sophie is the fiance of the woman who broke Max's heart. And so she's like not sure how she feels about being the one who objects at this wedding. And of course, it's going to be like a love story between them. But I love her writing, so I'm interested to see how this one goes. And then I also have The Hemlock Queen by Hannah Whitten, which is the sequel to The Foxglove King, which I really enjoyed. I have obviously the physical copy from my library, but my library, it's one of those 7-day holds, so no one had it before me. Like I didn't have to wait to get it. I reserved it right away. So I can renew this if no one's waiting for it. The problem is I don't know if anyone's waiting for it. And the audiobook for this one I have is on my Audible. So I can still listen to it and enjoy the story, but I won't have the physical book, which I like having as I'm reading. So that's where I'm stuck of like, which one do I go with? I'm leaning towards Happily Never After, just because with this one, even if I have to give the physical book back, I'll have the audiobook. Whereas with this one, I'll have the physical book still, but I won't have the time to read it, whereas I have more time to listen, if that makes sense. So I think I've just talked myself into reading this one next. So like I said, this one was for Animal Studies to read a standalone. This one is for restoration. Actually, this one is required for my prompt. Look at me. Anyway, this one is required for restoration. It is the second to the restoration prompt, which is a poisonous plant on the cover or in the title. Obviously, hemlock is poisonous, and then there is hemlock flowers on the cover as well. So it's both. So I'm thinking I'll read this one, and then this will be the one I pick up after that, just because that's the vibe I'm in. Plus, again, required for my career. But I've read 2 books so far this month, considering I've only been really reading for a couple of days, and they were both required for my career. So I'm doing pretty good. That's the vibe. I've talked myself into it. So I'm going to pick this one up next, and then I'll come back to you. Like I said, it's not very long, and I listen to these at night a lot of the time when I'm like pumping or feeding her or something, or like trying to get her back to sleep because she takes forever to fall back asleep. Hi, you making noises over there. And like I said, not very long, so I'm thinking I'll be able to get through this one relatively quickly. So that is my plan going forward. Tomorrow, I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. There's a fall market that's opening in our town. that actually, I think it's not like new. I think it happened last year and I didn't go for one reason or the other, but I'm trying to convince one of my friends to go with me. So that we may go on an excursion tomorrow to a fall market, which I don't even know what that means. Like, there's crafts, there's food, there's activities for little kids, although she is way too small to go to really anything, but there's like a lot of family stuff. So we'll see. And Chris had a soccer thing tomorrow, so he can't go. Anyway, so we might have lots of fall content for tomorrow. We'll see. But tomorrow's gonna be the last day of this first week. So if I can get one more thing done, I'm gonna call it a win. So that's my plan. That is the update. And I've gotten all my fall mugs out, if you haven't been able to tell, because I've been obsessed with them. So I'm all about the coffee and the mugs. Okay, I need to go. But that's my plan. I'll let you know how things turn out. Hello. As you can see, it's been a few days. It's Tuesday. So I basically went MIA. I was going to take you guys with me to the fall festival. It was very sweet, very cute. Totally forgot, was very in the moment with my friend, and then we ended up making like a day of it. We went to like TJ Maxx and Home Goods and Target and made coffee and all that fun stuff. So it was a very fall vibes day because we were looking at fall decorations, but did not take you along with me. Good job, Kelsey. So I'm here because I have finished a book and I need to wrap up this vlog because you guys are seeing it tomorrow. So the book that I think you guys know that I was picking up is Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. So out of the two careers, this one is for the career that is, it's not required for the one that I'm focusing on. It's required for the other one. Totally fine. It is part of the animal studies class. I think there's only 2 that I need for that. And this one is for the prompt of standalone. So I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. I love Lynn Painter's writing. This is the second book that I've read by her, and I've given both of her books 5 stars. The other one was Mr. Wrong Number, which I'm actually looking at right now. And I have the arc of that. I actually read that as an arc and devoured it. If you guys know anything about me, you guys know that I'm really bad at reading arcs because I'm really bad at making time to read things physically. So the fact that I was able to finish that in like a day or 2, amazing. So now I'm definitely going to go down the rabbit hole with her stuff and see what other books she has. She's got a lot. I did do like a quick look. I know that she has quite a few rom-coms, but her writing is just so good. Like from the first page, I was hooked by these characters. The characters of Sophie and Max were so fun to read about. Their chemistry was immaculate. They had this very fun, like flirty, bantery way of like talking to each other that had this edge of like making fun of. And I really enjoyed that. That's like, there's that like, that line that's like, I'm making fun of you, but in like a very, I care about you kind of way. And that's what they were doing. And honestly, it kind of reminded me of me and my husband. I'm not gonna lie. So maybe that's why I liked it. Either way, I just loved these 2 characters and I loved the way this is written. Lynn Painter has this way of like explaining things in her writing in a very unique way, but at the same time, you know exactly what she's talking about. Like, you may not have ever had that situation explained that way, but now you know exactly what's happening. So I just really enjoyed everything about it. I just really enjoyed a lot of it. So 5 stars. And I honestly don't know what else to say except for the fact that, like, I was hooked. I couldn't stop reading. I didn't have a lot of time to read, which is why it took me so long to finish this book, especially for a book that's not super long. But when I was reading, I was hooked and I just wanted to pick it up. And I just didn't have a lot of options to over the past few days. But I did finish it, which means I've now finished 3 books for the readathon, 2 that were required. So this brings my grand total for the week to 3, which is kind of what I was thinking. So I went through all of the prompts that are required for the career that I'm focusing on, and if I can complete 2 every week for all 4 weeks, I can get through those no problem. And I did. I've completed 2 required prompts and then something else for just for fun. It's a little bit of a recap for this week. I started off by reading The Moth Keeper by Kay O'Neill, which was for the Elemental Studies prompt, the second one, I believe, which was to read a book that's like about 100 pages, longer than the book that you were just finished when you heard this prompt. So that's what this one was. And then I did True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren, which was for Elemental Studies. It was the 3rd prompt to Elemental Studies, and it was for like sparks on the cover. And then, like I mentioned, Happily Ever After was for Animal Studies, and it was for the prompt of Standalone. So I feel very accomplished. I hope you guys enjoyed the chaotic first week. As a reminder, just because I'm wearing them and I just saw them in frame, don't forget that I have a link to Ana Luisa down below if you'd like to get 30% off. I've literally been wearing these like all week. I know that I haven't been wearing them in all of my updates because by the time I've updated you, I've like, you know, put my like sweatshirt and stuff on for the day. But I cannot get enough, especially these earrings. I need to wear the necklace more, but the earrings are like phenomenal. Like, they have not annoyed my ears once, and they're very durable, especially for me who like is really hard on earrings. So don't forget that you can get a discount if you would like to check them out. I'll have them in my videos for the next couple of videos, so go check them out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you are currently reading. Are you participating in the readathon? How is your progress going? What's your careers? How are you doing? Tell me all the things. I'm on track. Are you on track? Let me know. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe it down below if you'll be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got my social media down there as well as other fun bookish links. So check all that out, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.